When was the last time you experienced an incremental growth or success or kind of results you experienced which were way beyond your expectations? Pause this video and first get clear with this answer. I hope you pause the video and you got an answer by this time. And if the answer is no, you might consider watching the rest of the video where I'm going to share how exactly I wasted 3 years of my life and what you need to do so that you don't commit this same mistake ever again in your life. So stay tuned and let's go straight into this. So before beginning further, let's get clear about what does it really take to experience an outrageous result. ऐसा क्या चाहिए जो हमें एक exponential result देगा? Well, is it talent? Is it skill? Is it environment? Or is it guidance? Or any other thing which comes to your mind, which we hear all over the internet? Well, in the hindsight, I would say all of these things are necessary, and whoever has achieved any amount of success had some degree of skill, talent, or a support, or some sort of good environment. I'm not denying that. Nobody can deny that. But these things I believe are secondary. The number one thing which decides whether you're going to experience exponential growth in your life or not is only one thing, and that is compounding. You might have heard this term called compounding, especially in investing, but it applies same in life as well. Cause कोई भी चीज जो बहुत ही तगड़ा फूटती है उसके लिए बहुत ज्यादा कंसोलिडेशन करना पड़ता है पहले. And being a trader, this okay, let's not go into trading, but just to explain you simply, you might have seen जहाँ पे आपको दो ऑप्शन दिए जाते हैं कि आप अभी 2 करोड़ या 10 करोड़ रुपए लोगे या फिर एक पेनी जो कि डबल होता रहेगा 30 दिनों तक आप वो लोगे. एंड अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल who are not aware about compounding, they will choose the one where जहाँ पे उन्हें तुरंत instant gratification मिल रहा है, that is loads of money right now, instead of choosing slow progress, which is all about compounding. कि आप अभी या तो सारी खुशियां ले लो या फिर आप बहुत ज्यादा कंसोलिडेशन करो, बहुत ज्यादा पेशेंस रखो और कंटिन्यूअस कंसिस्टेंटली काम करते रहो. उसके बाद कंपाउंडिंग से आपको अनइमेजिनेबल रिजल्ट्स मिलेगा, एंड दैट इज कंपाउंडिंग. सो everything is important: skill, talent, environment, and guidance. But apart from that, compounding is what really matters if you want to experience any amount of exponential result, depending on कोई भी career आपका हो, whether it's about business, whether it's learning a skill, whether it's building a YouTube channel, or whether it's about learning an instrument. It doesn't really matter. हर एक जगह same concept apply होता है. किसी भी चीज में एक बड़ा breakout तभी आएगा जब आप बहुत देर तक उस चीज में कंसोलिडेट करोगे, एक स्टैग्नेंट ग्रोथ आप एक्सपीरियंस करोगे और हर रोज बिना रिजल्ट्स के शो अप करोगे विद 1% इंप्रूवमेंट. दैट इज इट. सो आई होप वी आर क्लियर कि कोई भी चीज में आपको एक्सपोनेंशियल रिजल्ट कैसे मिलेगा. नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट हाउ I violated this one principle and how I ended up wasting almost 3 years of my life. So I remember back in 2021 when I started my journey, specifically this online journey, when I started getting this clarity कि भाई ये चीजें मुझे अब करियर में करनी है. I started with coaching, and back then it was just after COVID where coaching industry was booming. It's still booming, but that was the initial phase where वहाँ पे सारे webinars वगैरह शुरू हो रहे थे, नए नए coaches आ रहे थे, नए नए लोग coaching से जुड़ रहे थे, and it was not that popular back then. It was just the starting phase. So I ended up knowing about coaching and I found कि यार मुझे तो already पढ़ाना और बातें करना अच्छा लगता है, so let's go into coaching. So what I did was I continuously hopped from one mentor to the other in search and with the hope that अगला वाला mentor ज्यादा सही सिखाएगा और उसके अंदर ज्यादा जल्दी growth होगी. And I ended up spending a lot of time. I ended up spending a lot of money without even realizing that the key thing was just sticking to one mentor and applying whatever that person is teaching, which I never did because I always wanted to experience overnight success, and I always believed that the other option which was available to me is much better. and there's no doubt वो better हो सकता है, but I never stick to one mentor, I never stick to one path, and I ended up wasting a lot of my time. And then I got into trading, where I switched multiple strategies, multiple setups, and I never realized that every setup works in the market as long as you stick to one thing for long enough time. And there's a beautiful quote which Bruce Lee said that I fear a man who has practiced one kick for 10,000 times rather a man who knows 10,000 different kicks. And this applies to trading one setup परफेक्टली, जहां पे हम एज अ ट्रेडर मल्टीपल सेटअप्स उन सेटअप्स को ढूंढने की कोशिश करते हैं जहां पे हमें एक्सपोनेंशियल रिजल्ट्स मिलेगा, जहां पे हमें लगता है कि ये तो यार मैजिकल स्ट्रेटजी है, सेटअप है, बट द की थिंग इज ऑलवेज अबाउट sticking to one thing. So this was how I wasted good amount of time in switching strategies in trading as well. And then when there was so much desperation to make money due to some personal reasons, due to some family issues, where I kept on switching from multiple things. And basically what I want to say is there was so much desperation to make money in my family. And trading is something that doesn't offers you immediate money. You have to spend good amount of time over here, just like any other industry, where first you need to experience losses, then you need to find an edge, and then you need to stick to that one thing. And for that, it takes years and years of hard work, and you gotta be persistent about it. But sometimes there are certain business models which gives you regular cash flow, and trading is not one of them. But I needed a cash flow, so I, in search of that, I wanted to, I actually ended up trying multiple industries, whether it's drop shipping, whether it's drop servicing, Google Ads, Facebook, and whatnot. And I wasted a lot of time and money as well in this because I wanted to develop and build a regular income flow, which never happened because I never sticked to one thing, and I wasted one more year just like this, along with trading, as of course, where even in trading I was trying to do strategy hopping. And then this is how I basically wasted 3 years of my life, not sticking to one thing, whether it's about one strategy or whether it's about one career path. And this is not something that I जो मैं अकेला करता हूँ, because the kind of a world we live in, we have loads of information. You know, there was a time in our life where जहाँ पे हमारे पास options बहुत कम हुआ करते थे, and right now the major problem is we have loads of options where choosing one thing and sticking to one thing is becomes really crucial. मैं आपको बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल एनालॉजी देता हूँ. सो लेट्स इमेजिन आप जो भी करियर चूज करो या कुछ भी चूज कर रहे हो वो एक माउंटेन है. आप इनिशियली माउंटेन पे चढ़ते हो, कुछ पॉइंट तक चढ़ते हो, फिर आपको बहुत थक जाता है बिकॉज आपको लगता है यार स्टार्टिंग में कि माउंटेन तो इजीली आप चढ़ सकते थे, टॉप पे आप पहुंच सकते थे, ब्यूटीफुल व्यू आप देख सकते थे. But in the middle of the mountain, you see another mountain which seems even more beautiful, and you feel like this will be much easier and this will be much better to, you know, to witness the top view from its top. And you decide that let's go down and let's climb this mountain. And when you and there's no problem about that, you go to that another mountain, and in the middle of climbing that mountain you also find another mountain which is, you know, where I'm getting where I'm kahan pe main aage badh raha hu isse. This is what really happens, and this is what I did, and this is what majority of the people are doing these days because there is so much information overload. So then what really happened, I want to share कि ऐसा क्या हुआ जहाँ पे मेरे को ये चीज रियलाइज हुई कि नहीं, जो मैं कर रहा हूँ वो गलत कर रहा हूँ. सो आई सॉ दिस one video by Alex Hormozy the other day where he shared 5 stages of change. So basically ये एक ग्राफ है जिसने मुझे रियलाइज करवाया कि यार गेम ऐसी तो नहीं चलेगी. Just a second. So yeah, this is it. So let's suppose you are over here, स्टेज 1 के पहले, जहां पे आप कोई भी चीज शुरू करते हो. यू पिक वन थिंग, a brand new thing, and basically this is stage 1 called as uninformed optimism, where you don't know what you don't know. आपको बाहर से लग रहा है ये चीज बहुत अच्छी है, आपको इसमें बहुत अच्छा आप कर सकते हो, बट यू रियली डोंट नो व्हाट दिस थिंग एग्जैक्टली इज। एंड देन इट कम्स स्टेज 2। स्टेज 1 पे आप बहुत ज्यादा एक्साइटेड थे बिकॉज ये नई चीज थी, आप बहुत ज्यादा एक्सपेक्टेशंस के साथ आए थे, लेकिन स्टेज 2 पे आपको पेसिमिज्म हिट होता है। आपको रियलाइज होता है नहीं, दिस इज नॉट दैट इजी एज आई वाज थिंकिंग व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड इट। आपको रियलाइज होता है कि इसमें और भी ज्यादा चीजें हैं जो मैंने कभी एंटिसिपेट नहीं की थी। But still, for some reason, you choose to stick with it and you go to third stage where the major drop comes. And this is also called as valley of despair, जहां पे आपको ये रियलाइज हो जाता है यार कि नहीं, इसमें बहुत ज्यादा फाइट मारनी पड़ेगी एंड इतना मैं नहीं दे पाऊंगा, मैंने ऑलरेडी इसको बहुत टाइम दिया है और मैं एक्सपीरियंस नहीं कर पा रहा जो रिजल्ट्स मैंने सोचा था। सो इट्स ऑलवेज बेटर टू क्विट एंड यू स्टार्ट लुकिंग फॉर न्यू अपॉर्चुनिटीज। यू बेसिकली स्टार्ट चेजिंग शाइनी ऑब्जेक्ट सिंड्रोम्स एंड दिस इज व्हाट मोस्ट पीपल डू। सो स्टेज 3 पे मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पीपल गिव अप कर देते हैं, दे ऑल together start with one more new thing on stage 1 without breaking through stage 4, which is where the real growth happens. Only like few people, 5%, 1% people go from stage 3 to stage 4, and stage 4 is where the real magic happens, जहां पे आपको रियलाइज होता है कि यार अब आप थोड़े बहुत रिजल्ट्स देख रहे हो जो कि काफी एविडेंट है, और स्टेज 5 पे बेसिकली आपका वो एक्सपोनेंशियल ग्राफ फट जाता है। बट द सैड पार्ट इज majority of the people are only circling between stage 2 and stage 3, where they are picking one thing, they are experiencing the pessimism about it कि ये चीज इतनी easy नहीं है, and they go to stage 3 where they are feeling that disappointment of not being able to get the results they actually desired at the starting point, and they find one more new thing and they keep on going from this loop for years and years. And this is what I did for years and years. But if you ask me, do you have any regret? Of course not, because somewhere I feel it's the process, and going to that believe that everything makes sense to me. That why I did what I did, and जो मैं चीजें नहीं करता तो शायद मुझे इनिशियली आप अफोर्ड कर सकते हो बिकॉज यू डोंट नो व्हाट यू रियली वांट टू बी गुड एट, व्हाट यू रियली वांट टू पिक एज योर करियर। सो इनिशियली इट्स रियली ओके to explore certain things, but it's also important that you don't get stuck in this loop, because this is what really happens, and this is just a common practice right now. But as we progress through the years, this will become even more common practice, because the opportunities are going to be endless going further, and people, the amount of patience people are going to have is going to become even more reduced. So that's why it's really important to understand this graph. And if you want to take a screenshot of this, you can always, you should keep reminding yourself whenever you're going to pick one thing that this is how my graph is going to look before I experience any amount of success in life. So for it. And now this was the 5 stages of change by Alex Hormozy. Now, let's talk about what was the purpose of this video. It was only two things to make you realize two things. Number one, you should always stick to one thing long enough in order to experience compounding in your life. Because जैसा मैंने आपको बताया, if you don't stick to one thing for long enough, you will never experience compounding, because compounding is all about giving yourself time, whether it's investment or whether it's life or any particular skill. Everything requires time. एंड विथ टाइम आई जस्ट डोंट मीन कि आप बस एक चीजें करते रहो, हाथ पांव मारते रहो विदाउट एक्चुअली प्रोग्रेसिंग और विदाउट बिकमिंग बेटर। इट्स ऑलवेज अबाउट रिफ्लेक्शन एज वेल, कि आप चीजें इंट्रोस्पेक्ट कर रहे हो कि आपने जो गलत किया वो क्यों किया, और फिर आप उसको सुधार रहे हो। दैट्स व्हाट आई मीन बाय गिविंग योरसेल्फ टाइम। इट्स जस्ट नॉट डूइंग द सेम थिंग ओवर एंड ओवर अगेन एंड एक्सपेक्टिंग different results. Definitely I don't mean that. With time you need to have an intent of growing and becoming a better individual in your particular field. So that was the first point. And second point is, don't think that the other mountain is going to be even more beautiful on the top and will be easier to climb. Because as I said, this is what made me waste multiple years of my life. Because I always thought कि यार दूसरा पहाड़ ना, दूसरा माउंटेन ना, इससे easy होगा जो मैं अभी currently climb कर रहा, और इससे even ज़्यादा beautiful होगा top से। बट आई नेवर थॉट कि हर एक पहाड़ चढ़ने में एफर्ट लगता है, टाइम लगता है, एंड कोई भी अमाउंट ऑफ रिजल्ट देखने के लिए भी आपको उतना इक्वली इफ नॉट मोर आपको टाइम देना पड़ेगा. सो दीज आर द टू टॉप टेकअवेज आई वांट यू टू टेक फ्रॉम दिस वीडियो. एंड अगर ये वीडियो मैं पहले देखता तो शायद मैं वो गलतियां नहीं करता, बट एज आई सेड, there is no regret. Regret is not the word that I like. And I always see things कि जहां पे मेरे को लॉन्ग टर्म में जाके चीजें और ज्यादा बिगर पिक्चर पे सेंस बनाएंगी. अभी मुझे शायद लगता है कि मैंने टाइम वेस्ट कर दिया, बट आई नो डीप डाउन दैट in the long term everything will make sense. And if I wouldn't have explored so much about these things, then probably I wouldn't be getting the success I want. शायद मैं ऐसा सोचूं आगे जाके. So that was it from this video, and I hope you got some value out of it, and I hope you don't commit the same mistake which I did.